India has positioned itself as one of the most attractive investment destinations in the world. In the last 2 decades alone, India's foreign direct investments have touched nearly $1 trillion. But with this massive growth comes a critical challenge which businesses operating in India cannot afford to ignore, and that is corruption. The regulatory complexities, bureaucratic hurdles, historically high tolerance for corruption, and weak enforcement of laws are significant challenges for companies operating in India. Certain sectors such as defense, mining, healthcare, manufacturing, and retail are more prone to corruption than the others. Now, there are several legislations dealing with corruption in India, but the primary legislation is the Prevention of Corruption Act. And the 2018 amendment to the Prevention of Corruption Act changed the entire business landscape for companies operating in India. Now, under the amended law, commercial organizations are directly liable if anyone associated with a commercial organization bribes a government official. Now, it's not just limited to employees. It could be anyone, a consultant, a vendor, subsidiaries or intermediaries, anyone acting on behalf of the company. If they give any kind of undue advantage to a government servant, the commercial organizations are directly liable. Now, this is not just applicable to domestic entities. It's applicable to all the entities operating their businesses in India, including the MNCs. Now, the only defense under the Prevention of Corruption Act is for commercial organizations is to prove that they had adequate procedures in place to prevent bribery. Now, that raises a question as to what counts as adequate procedures and what steps businesses can take to stay compliant. Now, guidelines as to adequate procedures haven't been prescribed as yet, but based on global practices, there are key safeguards which the companies can implement to reduce the risk and ensure compliance. Now, first is to conduct a thorough risk assessment to identify vulnerabilities, whether in transactions, business relationships, high-risk locations. The first step is to understand where the risk exists, and only then you can better manage. Next, clear and comprehensive policies are essential, leaving no room for ambiguity. The policies should explicitly cover areas such as gifts, hospitality, political donations, charitable contributions, and interaction with government officials. But policies alone cannot protect the company. The people need to be trained. Employees at all levels across departments need to be trained to understand the risks. Third party, if they interact with government officials frequently, they need to be trained to understand the compliance obligations. Thorough due diligence is critical. Whether in M&A transactions or third-party engagements, companies should carefully vet who they are working with. Third-party intermediaries are among the biggest corruption risks for MNCs. In fact, globally, most enforcement actions and regulatory settlements stem from improper payments made through these channels. A compliance program is only as strong as its enforcement. The companies must have a secure, confidential, anonymous reporting mechanism and a strong internal monitoring system to detect and address potential violations proactively. By leveraging AI-driven forensic audits, companies can detect suspicious patterns in real time, ensuring that high-risk transactions are flagged immediately. The ability to use the tools for predictive analysis also allows companies to stay one step ahead of the potential threats. But even the best compliance programs fail without a leadership commitment. The tone at the top should be correct. There should be zero tolerance to bribery and corruption. Senior executives and board members should demonstrate ethical leadership and foster a culture where compliance isn't just a legal requirement, it is a core business value. Ultimately, compliance is not about avoiding penalties, it is about integrity. Companies that embed ethics in their culture, they just don't stay compliant. They build trust, credibility, and long-term success. And in a market as dynamic as India, that is what sets industry leaders apart. Thank you for listening.